Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special edition of the Varsity Sports Show live from Saguaro High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. Host site of this afternoon's Saguaro Spring Football Showcase. And my name is Vince Delicio. So excited to be here this afternoon. I was so excited that I started late. We were setting up and we got to conversations and everything else in chatting with my good friends here and all these. You heard from the public address announcer this afternoon, who doubles as the athletic director, Matt Harris, talking about some of the folks that are out here today. It's a regular who's who this afternoon of college coaches, local media personalities. I noticed he didn't say my name. He's going out of his way to not say my name, for God's sake. Anyway, we'd like to welcome. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you have to like ask somebody to do it, then it kind of loses its effect. But anyway, so we're gonna bring him on right now because he is just yeah, he's got a lot to say. So let's hear from athletic director Matt Harris here from Saguaro High School. So, Mr. Harris, so thank you so much for that warm introduction there. It's as you're breaking our equipment apparently. Um, you need some help there. I'm gonna what an afternoon, what a day. Anyway, so yeah, so I don't know. It's a little dim right now because we're in the shade. But Matt Harris, Saguaro SaberCats athletic director. Uh, Mr. Harris, all kidding aside, there's a lot of people out here today.
We're excited to have our annual showcase here and good weather, good location here.
Oh, you got wow, that's a nice hat. Um, so I I want to welcome you over, Coach Stewart, Philip Stewart. Coach, talk a little bit about your team last year and the pressure of let's talk about pressure because we covered first of all we covered that open game, but to go into the postseason, number one in the state in the open, all eyes on you, never been done before at Marana. What kind of pressure?
To me, I don't think it was pressure. Like I told the boys when we came in as freshmen, nobody would ever thought that we'll be the number one team when they became seniors. But that's something we've been building since we have been there. You know what I'm saying? So as freshmen, we have been building those bricks. And our senior year, I think a lot of people around the state just took notice of what we've been doing there because I say if you look at our record, we have been pretty good leading up to that anyway. So I think that year was just everybody took notice because of those two teams we had beat early, and everybody's like, "Well, dang, they might be pretty good." So, like I tell my boys, man, if we prepare now and when the spotlight comes, we're gonna be okay. So, like I said,
Join us. I'm Vince. It's good to meet you. Yeah, good to meet you. So go ahead and pop that thing on, and we're joined by Marana Tigers quarterback Colton Myers. Colton, thanks for coming over. So a lot of questions that are out there, a lot of things about your team and the fact that you guys were the number one team heading into the Open last year.
Yep.
You ran the table. You were 10-0. And I'd ask Coach about the difference between last year and this year. When you look at where you were at this point last year compared to where you are right now, what's the difference?
I've got to say experience. Last year we had a lot of experience. We had a big senior group. This year we're going to be we don't have as much seniors, and so we're going to be starting young. But I think we really built this program, and we got some good young guys to keep it just keep the ball rolling.
Going to be joined live by couple of talented young men out of Marana High School, the Tigers. We have with us Sean Roebuck, left to right or right to left, if no, left to right if you're watching them. Sean Roebuck and Jackson Sharp. Gentlemen, wide receivers, DBs. We've been asking this question about Marana because it was like last year, your team just came out of nowhere and were lights out. We're undefeated, number one, heading into the postseason, the playoffs. Um, when you look at where you were at the start of last year, did you guys have a feeling that you had something special, or was there just kind of like a spark that something that happened first game, second game that you said, you know what, I think we're pretty good? I'm going to pitch that question starting left to right. Let's start with Sean.
had something really special. We had obviously my brother Desmond Roebuck. He led our team,
Okay.
but like we had good leaders and like they brought us up, and we just knew we were gonna have a great season.
What was it like having your brother as a teammate?
It's great. I just learned like he teaches me a lot. Like all the stuff I know
Yeah.
probably from him. Like he's like probably the best wide receiver like coming out of Marana,
Hmm.
and I just want to follow his footsteps.
So as sophomores last year, and Jackson, I'll pitch this question to you. As sophomores last year, now that the seniors are gone and you're 1 year older and you guys as going into your junior year having to assume more of a leadership role, how does that feel? How does that look like? Is the team, the look of the team, very similar? You're obviously your quarterback's coming back, kind of, a lot of questions kind of built into that one question, but how does that look, leadership?
Um, I think we we have like a lot of leadership on the team already, and we have a lot of guys coming up. So I think, and like me and Sean, and there's a few other incoming juniors that the younger kids already look up to. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, we just set a good example for them, and we just try to just show them how the whole varsity, how the whole
Yeah.
practice schedule works, everything like that. And I think about our team coming into this year, I think we have we are losing some guys, but I think we have a lot more depth and a lot more players that are good coming in, so we have a lot more, like, I guess, replacements that you could say.
Yeah. Do you feel like you guys are more stacked going into this season with veteran players than you were last year, or did you have more veterans last year that brought things into the season with leadership?
I think last year we had like a few more players that definitely showed more leadership, but this year we also have some incoming seniors that are just great. They're good role models. They like to speak out. They like to tell us how to do things and how to keep us in track. And yeah, the season is going great right now. And
Yeah.
yeah, these incoming seniors are doing good leadership wise.
All right, guys. We are back with a couple of more Marana Tigers, and we're joined by Darian DeWitt, running back athlete who's just going into a senior year, and Jeffrey Smith going into a sophomore year, who's a running back, middle linebacker. Gentlemen, uh, is this right? As a freshman, you rushed for 900 yards?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. Well, I want to talk to you. So 1,300 all-purpose yards. Guys, going into last, you guys obviously won every game in the regular season last year. Was there a favorite game that each of you guys had that maybe meant the most in terms of a team win or individual performance? Because it's okay to feel like, man, I had a great game. You won every game, so it's okay to say that, even if the team didn't play as well in the victory, you still won the game. So I'll start with the young guy first, Jeff.
I'm gonna go with South Point because especially it was a game opener, my first ever time stepping on the field,
Yeah.
varsity,
Yeah.
big lights, you know what I mean? It's definitely a bigger crowd. So definitely had me nervous, but it meant a lot to the team. I could tell in my brother's eyes when we won that game that
Yeah.
they were very proud of themselves, and it was definitely a milestone for us as a team. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
big win. You know.
Okay. Darian, what about you?
I'd probably have to say Mountain View or CDO
Okay.
because Mountain View is, our rivals in our region. So that was just a great game. I competed very well against them.
Yeah.
But also CDO because me and Jeff, I feel, shared the rock real well,
Mm.
and we both got to eat.
Nice. Okay. Tyson Huskies head football coach Tyson Ditmore. Coach, uh, give us your yeah. Don't talk to that guy over there. It's bad news. It's interesting. I digress, but he gives me credit. It's only after I say something. I came out here. I'm dying of thirst and everything, and he throws my name out there as a thank you. I don't even get a glass of water. Anyway, Matt Harris of Saguaro Athletic. He was a good guy. Okay, Coach Ditmore. Let's get back on track here. A little bit about the experience that you had out here today. You did this last year,
Mhm.
first year as a head coach. Now you're back. What's different about this year for you?
Weather, it's a little bit nicer. That's number one. But I mean, Coach Harris and Coach Kelly, they do an awesome job of being hospitable to allow teams like us to come out and get our kids looked at. And I think it's just the them organizing and putting everything together is just a consistent, smooth operation that we're greatly appreciative of.
Y You had quite a season last year, an incredible year, and you know, and the thing about the Horizon community is they've become accustomed to incredible years. So the pressures that you're faced from the community, good thing, bad thing. I know it's kind of a leading question, but how do you feel about that?
I mean, I like it. I think our kids have developed, that competitive advantage, and we've got an awesome community that number one supports us and coaches wanting to build great young men. But the competitive advantage, is driven from home and from the school and from our administration. So there's always going to be the stressors of wins and losses in a program like Horizon because it's been set up so well. But we're trying not to focus on that too much.
Coach, last couple of years, first of all, thanks for coming to the showcase, bringing your kids here. Tremendous amount of respect for you, your program, and Coach. Last year was unbelievable start for you. So the expectations, I'm sure, have been set by you and the kids in your program, and you're looking forward to this upcoming year. But I just want to talk about recruiting a little bit. Long time assistant coach and moved into that head coaching role, and you've been a part of this for a long time. What have you seen changing with recruiting as it pertains to high school, especially with that landscape changing with the portal and colleges, recruiting other college kids?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing we've seen is we don't see as many college coaches coming out to the high schools to see the high school kids. There's a lot of involvement with what they call, I guess, prep players, which kids have already had a year under their belt. They've got film. They're trusted kids who have been to school. I don't know the day and age of the high school kids are is going to be as high maybe when I went to high school, but it's a little bit more difficult, and I think there's a positive to it that now some of these Division II, Division I FCS programs, Division III programs have had an opportunity to kind of go back to that old school thing of recruiting kids who are out of high school and recruiting them the right way, and looking for genuine kids for genuine programs.
Coaches, as you look around at other teams in the state and things that they're doing, with these camps and these games in other states and things like that, and ultimately, what does it come down to develop a team, a cohesive team that you've seen because you've been doing this for a while?
Um, One of the big things for me in general is just, holding kids accountable to the little things. That's the way that I was taught, from my head coach in high school. And, keeping kids accountable from the moment they walk in as freshmen until the moment they walk in out their senior year, just keeping them accountable and also making sure that the kids have fun. I mean, there's going to be years where you may not have some success, but you want to make sure that those seniors have a great year you want it to be a fun time for those kids.
Coach, you guys play in a extremely competitive region, and going back to your expectations last year, now leading into this year, what are you kind of looking forward to? And then who are some of the key players on your team that are going to need to step up and fill some big roles in order for you guys to have a nice run again next year?
For us, I think we've always been excited about the region that we're in just because of, the depth and talent that's in the region from Desert Mountain, Notre Dame Prep, Cactus, um, Cactus Shadows, you name it. Chaparral's now in our league. Um, just elite talent that we're going to get a chance to go against. And, we're going to rely on a lot of our kids. We have 31 seniors this year, which we're really excited about. But that group's going to be led by guys that like a four-year starter like Bodie Zamorano, JohnnyIssett, who played some running back for us last year, Jake Giroux, who played receiver, and then on the defensive side of the ball, you've got our linebackers with Gage Lee, secondary guys like Stratton Nee, and then offensive line wise, Justin Klutwick. Those are guys that have been in the program for 4 years and they know what it takes, and they've got a little bit a different taste in their mouth from last year's ending.
Great. Last question I had too. Who are some heavy lifters on your staff? Some guys that are just you rely on heavily because it's not a one man show coaching high school football.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know what I do. I think I just take attendance every day and let the coaches coach. But it's going to start with our defensive coordinator, Coach Dave Anderson. He is the head coach of the defense. Our offensive coordinator, Coach Drew Vaughn, he's the head coach of the offense. And then our special teams coordinator is Jason Haggerty. He's the head coach of the special teams. So those three right there are key leaders in our kind of leadership council from a coaching staff. And then we've got quality guys just across the board that are great men. Coach Clay Walker, who's was a 4-year starter at University of Washington. He's a Horizon grad, and just letting those guys do their thing.
A mainstay here in the Valley in high school football coaching at Valley Christian, Coach Jake Peterson. Coach, thank you for coming on over. I wanted to ask you, because you participated in this event last couple of years, what do you and your team get out of this event?
This is an area that we don't get as much as a small school. As many coaches coming through us, and when you get an event, in a place like Saguaro that hosts that, invites schools of the quality and quantity that Saguaro does, it gets our kids a lot more looks and where people might not see them in other places. So, pretty great spot for us.
Coach, if you don't mind, speak to a little bit of some of your players. When I go down your roster, specifically when I see your linemen, I feel like those are linemen that could be playing at the 6A level. But I know you have some other really good skill position players, a good young talented tight end, and a quarterback that's really starting to step up for you as well. But if you can just share maybe a little bit about some of your key guys and how they performed tonight, and what kind of leadership and expectations you have for each of those guys to help you next year have a great season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with a guy like Jackson Quiot. He's plays left guard for us, 6'3", 290. He's worked his butt off this offseason, gained 40 pounds in the offseason, so he's 6'3", 290 right now. Been to a ton of camps, getting a lot of the Ivy League looks. Yale was talking to him, Harvard today. But that's kind of his wheelhouse. I think technique from that guy's always been amazing. He just wasn't done growing, and so his strength wasn't developing as quick as some of these other guys because of the growth he was having. And so this was great for him to be able to showcase what he's been working on in this offseason. Obviously, like you said, Caden Palmquist, he's 6'3", 225. He's only a freshman, and I'm biased because he's my guy, but when you watch him out on the field here, I think he's arguably the best tight end in the state of Arizona. Whether it's the way that he blocks, whether it's the way he runs routes and catches the ball. I mean, the kid's skills and his work ethic, his character. I mean, everything from that kid just screams he's going to be in the NFL someday. We got Asher Hansel as a wide receiver, runs a 4.5 40 at the Blue Gray All-American tryout the other day. He didn't play as much this last year because he had a lot of nagging injuries that he went through. But he's still, the games that he did play, the 3 games, he had nearly 200 yards receiving in each of the 3 games that he got to play. He played in 3 other games as well, but he was more of just a decoy of, hey, you got to pay attention to this guy over here. So, our quarterback that we have projected to start this year, Austin Shooter, is more like a linebacker playing quarterback. I mean,
Coach Conrad Hamilton out of Desert Mountain. Coach, first of all, thanks for doing this. I can't tell you how excited we are as a group to be covering you guys again this year, and we get a chance to see you out here tonight with your team. This has been an amazing event. What are you seeing out here?
Well, I see, a bunch of young guys that are eager to perform in front of a bunch of college coaches, right? And, trying to end their spring ball seasons on a good note and take some days off before we get back at it in the summer after the Memorial break. That's kind of what I see. I don't know.
As you survey the landscape, and this is a showcase, so it's not necessarily a competition team against team.
Yeah.
It's just players out here getting noticed, and I know that you are your own worst critic. But realistically, I mean, you are really. You don't cut yourself too many breaks, Coach. In the time that I've known you, I mean, and that's what keeps you guys going. But with your guys tonight and what you've been seeing, I mean, how are they performing?
I think, right now, um, we're on schedule. It's been a
Yeah.
long spring. We do stuff. I think we start doing little things with our guys probably right before spring break, first part of March, where we're going to do, a couple hour practices twice a week, things like that, installs, just little things like that. I guess you can call it an OT or whatever.
we're in the weight room, grinding them out, whatever, during class and doing things like that. So it's been a good spring. We have a small 26 senior class, but some guys that'll help us play. But where we're really loaded at is our 27 and 28 classes. We have a lot of young skill talent there. So things have been good. We're just working to get better every day.
Coach, I believe, is this your 7th year we're going into, or 8th?
Yeah, we'll just finished our 6th, but we'll be
Going
starting
into
the 7th.
7th.
Yes, sir.
And so, ironically, that's tenure right now at the high school level and coaching and stuff. Just tell us a little bit about your culture at Desert Mountain and what's made you guys perennially one of the top teams in Arizona, and just a little bit about your culture there at Desert Mountain and why you guys are successful.
Yeah, I just think one, I still don't know if we've reached that area where we can say we're one of the top teams. I think we've been successful over the last several years just because we're trying to create what we call a championship mindset. We want to win the day every day, right? We want our kids to have the right type of disposition when they come to work, whether it's in the classroom, on the field, or out in the community, where we want them to be at their best. And I just think, with my past history and where I've come from, a little bit of Eastern New Mexico to being a 7th round pick, to coaching and doing all sorts of stuff. We want to be an overachieving program. And that's really what life is about, in my opinion, or whatever, is always outworking your talent, overachieving so you can be successful, never feel like you've ever made it. And I think that's what we embark on them as a staff. And that's kind of how our kids play. All right. Because I do think we're an overachieving program a little bit.
I don't know of any big schools that has more, and I kind of tease you about this every year I talk to you, Coach, but I don't know of any big schools that plays more two-way players in the state of Arizona than Desert Mountain consistently. How are you able to maintain that high level of the demand from your kids?
Well, I think one is, the off seasons are great to us. Some first and foremost, whatever. That's really the learning curve, right? The film, the chalkboard, the meetings, the walkthroughs, all that stuff, whatever. So they can kind of understand and comprehend all that stuff, whatever. And then so they can start playing fast as we get in the spring ball in the summer. And by the time we're near the season, they've kind of mastered both playbooks. Ideally, we don't want to play everybody both ways, but we have to create the quality depth that we need at a program that only has 100 kids. But that's why we do it. If we had our druthers, we wouldn't do it. And if we did do it, it would just be our top players that can handle that rigor of playing both sides. Kind of like a Travis Hunter. We don't have that many, but right now we have to do it just because we don't have quality depth.